Now, this episode is full of cultural references, but let's first take a look at a real-life issue that The Simpsons deal with a lot: censorship. Take a look at this clip of Marge introducing the show.
Oh my. It seems the show is so scary that Congress won't even let us show it. Instead, they've suggested the 1947 classic Glenn Ford movie, 200 Miles to Oregon.
So in this, Marge was basically saying that the US Congress had said that the show was too scary and wanted it to be replaced by something really inoffensive instead. This was the creators' way of responding to all of the criticism that they were getting from Congress and from the FCC at the time. So let's first talk about what the FCC is, because that's actually really important. So the FCC stands for the Federal Communications Commission, and they're basically an agency that regulates all communications in the US. So, cable, TV, radio, all of that goes through the FCC. And this regulation can sometimes end up as being a form of censorship. So if you've ever been listening to the radio in the US and suddenly in the middle of the song, the music kind of cuts out, or a word doesn't sound like it really belongs in the lyric, like it doesn't rhyme and it doesn't really fit, that could be because the FCC deemed the original lyric too offensive to be aired on the radio, so the artist had to go back and change it if they wanted it to get any radio airplay. Eminem actually famously raps about this in his song Without Me.
So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on MTV, but it feels so empty without me.
Now, back in the early 90s, Congress and the FCC were really concerned about the content that was in The Simpsons show, namely the violence that they were seeing in it. And The Simpsons writers heard their concerns, listened to them, and responded by making an ultra gruesome episode. In fact, the very final scene in the show is a musical number with the entire Simpson family turned inside out, complete with blood spatter.
You're back with your family now, where there's nothing to be afraid of. Except that fog that turns people inside out.
Huh? Uh-oh, it's seeping in. Stupid cheap weather stripping.
One, a chorus line of people dance until they make us stop.
Two,
Many dancing people covered with blood, gore, and clot. Just one sniff of that fog and you're inside out.
Watch this clip of Bart and Homer taking over the introduction.
There's nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust your picture. We are controlling the transmission.
what's that, boy? We're in control? Hey, look! I can see my voice! Blub, 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 blub. This is my voice on TV.
Dad, you're ruining the mood.
Sorry.
For the next half hour, we will control what you see and hear. You are about to experience the terror and foul horror of The Simpsons Halloween Special.
This is a parody of the opening for the TV show The Outer Limits, which was a sci-fi show that aired in the mid-60s, and it was really similar to The Twilight Zone.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
Now, I myself never actually watched the show. However, I still recognized the opening line. It's very iconic, and you'll see it referenced in a lot of different places. The first story in this episode, The Shinning, is a parody of The Shining, a horror movie based on a Stephen King novel of the same name. Just like in the episode, the movie revolves around a family who goes to a hotel to take care of it over the winter, and while there, the father is driven insane and attacks his family. If you haven't seen the movie, I absolutely recommend that you do. It is fantastic. So this episode is really upfront that they're essentially just doing a retelling of The Shining. They even go as far as to name drop it in the episode.
Boy, you read my thoughts. You've got the Shinning.
You mean shining.
Shh, you want to get sued?
So the joke here is that Bart knows about The Shining and knows what's going on, but Wiley tells him to call it The Shinning because they don't want to be sued. Pretty much every single scene in this story correlates with some scene from the movie, and here are a few examples.
That's odd. Usually the blood gets off at the second floor.
So there's the elevator of blood scene, which is much funnier in The Simpsons than it is in the actual movie. So the little boy that you just saw in that clip is psychic, and he writes the word red rum over and over again in the movie, something that Maggie does with blocks. In the movie, you find out that what he's actually writing is murder.
Red rum. 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 Stop it. Red rum. Red rum.
In the movie, the father is convinced to kill his family by a ghost tending bar. So, of course, when The Simpsons did it, they had Moe be the ghost.
So, what'll it be, Homer?
Mo, give me a beer.
No, not unless you kill your family.
Why should I kill my family?
They'd be much happier as ghosts.
You don't look so happy.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm very happy. La 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 la, see? Now waste your family, I'll give you a beer.
In the movie, there's a set of really scary twins that are in the hotel.
Hello, Danny. Come and play with us. Come and play with us, Danny. Forever and ever and ever.
And you see them referenced all the time. They're actually a really popular Halloween couple costume. Those same twins are referenced in shows like Family Guy and even in commercials for oranges.
You two really like dolls.
Mommy said you can spend the night. Or longer. Would you like to?
Drive.
Good choice, kid. Wonderful halos. Sweet, seedless, easy peel.